Hello, people. It's your boy Usmaan back again with another topic show. As always, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the All For United channel. I've just realized I completely forgot the intro. Ben, please forgive me. This was the intro. I've completely forgotten about it. But listen, as always, if you are joining us on Twitter, make your way over to YouTube, drop a like on the channel and subscribe. It's completely free. We're very close to 1K. As you guys can tell by the background, it is the topic show. Before I go into the topic, let me introduce the panel. We have got the regular losers, may I emphasize. Joe and Barry, boys, how are you doing?
What? What an attack to have on your regular guest to open up with losers, okay?
Oh God! All right. Oh, sorry. God, he's really going for the guilt trip, isn't he?
I will say, okay. You might define me as a loser. I have a win, okay, all right, and I have a loss.
Okay,
so technically, it's 1-1.
Okay, Joe, it's not all about you, mate. Anyways, I thought you were in a better mood because Duffy just scored for you.
He did.
No. Anyways, Barry, sorry about that. Joe obviously wanted to be the limelight as always. How are you doing, Barry?
All good down in Africa here. Everything good. Thank you.
Love to see. Obviously, Barry's still looking for his first win, and here to stop him from getting that is the man, Flawless. How you doing?
Yo, man, it's good to be on, man. Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
Absolute pleasure, bro.
See that intro. We get losers. He gets the absolute legend. Right?
Listen, Joe. Listen, when the people knew you're going to pick them up, give it a couple of weeks.
Why didn't you back
Right, can I get to the actual topic? Because we've got 40 people viewing and they're probably like, what is going on? Anyways, for those of you that are just tuned in, it is the topic show, as you can see from the top left. The topic is, who is the most important signing we are going to make this window, or who you think should be the most important target, if that makes sense. Obviously, the players can't, or the contestants can't pick somebody that has already been said. So, for example, if Joe picks somebody, I will just say Ramos as an example, as I said prior to the start of the show. If somebody says Ramos, the next person after them cannot choose the same player. It has to be someone completely different. And obviously, they're up against each other for your votes on the poll on All For United Twitter page. Jokes aside, Joe has won the last two. If I'm not, then Joe's won one. I think Cody won last week. Barry's never won. So if you want a new winner, obviously vote for Barry.
No, don't.
Joe has a huge following that he pays regularly. We know.
If you want to get paid by Joe, vote for Joe. Anyways, let's get into the show. As always, drop a like, subscribe. I'm really going on for too much. Let's get on to it. Anyways, who is the most important target Man United have to sign this summer window? Not next summer. No Upperman corner shouts for next summer. This summer. I haven't actually decided who's going first, but as Flawless is new, I'll let you do the honors, mate. So, who is the person? State your claim. Obviously, like I said, the people will get to vote in the poll later on.
This is a pressure situation. You're just going to throw me on first ahead of the regulars. I wasn't expecting that.
To be honest, it's better to go on first because
it is.
Yeah, I suppose so. But now there's more pressure if I don't win, and if I don't win, I'm going to come back next week or whatever and try and win.
I've done you a favor, but trust me, Joe and Barry will.
So yeah. All jokes aside, the most important, I actually believe, how do I put this? I actually do believe all signings are as important as each other. But for the sake of this conversation, I would say the most important signing is definitely Sancho. Without question, it's Sancho. And the reason why I would say it's Sancho is because, as stupid as it sounds, our attack needs less work than our defense does. So I'm just saying, if we're not going to sign anybody else apart from Sancho, let's just go top heavy. Our attack is already our best form of our defense anyway. So let's just add to that. Obviously, we would like to be more well-rounded and more well-rounded. But in the sake of this conversation, we're not. So it's like, all right, let's just go top heavy. Like we already signed Donny van de Beek, and now we're adding Sancho to the Avengers. You get me? Adding it to Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, Pogba, Bruno.
Love that.
The Avengers. So we're already adding that five. Adding to that five. So adding to that five, let's add them too. Let's go and get Sancho and let's just go top heavy. to compare it to boxing, it's kind of like, all right, we're kind of like Deontay Wilder, where all we've got is the knockout punch.
We got that punch. We got that one punch.
We got that punch. That's literally it. All we have is that punch. And obviously, you would like to be a Tyson Fury and more well-rounded, but in the sake of this conversation, we're not. So it's like, all right, let's just throw everything at it, innit? Let's just go for that knockout, that killer blow. So yes, Sancho is definitely more important. And also as well, he improves the players around him. He improves, to me, he'll improve Martial. He improves Rashford. He improves Greenwood. Bruno, Pogba, and Donny all trying to find him. I think he improves as well Wan-Bissaka as well. And people look over. If Wan-Bissaka had a right-sided midfielder next to him, I mean, in front of him, should I say, I think the attacking burden is not on him as much. So then I think you see a battle because Sancho attracts attention. So yeah, it's not a bad start, man, innit? It's definitely Sancho, man. Mark is definitely Sancho. And like I stated, we gotta go top heavy. Let's just go top heavy. There's no point. All right, if we sign a centre back, our attack's still the same, and our defense is slightly better because we still need a left back. We still need a left back. We still need a holding midfielder. Same way if we sign just a holding midfielder, then if we sign just a holding midfielder, we still need a left back and a centre back. And if we just sign a left back, we still need a centre back and a holding midfielder. Whereas if we sign Sancho, that's it. You know what I'm saying? The attack is ready made. It's ready made. It's there. Like I've already said there isn't a better front five in the country than Pogba, Bruno, Greenwood, Martial, Rashford. If you add in Donny and Sancho to that, is there a better seven? Is there a better seven? I don't think there's a better seven in the country. So yeah, man, Sancho's the most important signing.
Well, according to Joe, obviously Messi's in the league, and it's so that's a bit debatable.
Even with Messi, it's like I
whoa, right. Flawless is really pushing the Sancho. I love to see it.
Yeah, man. Hear what I'm saying though. Messi, yes, quality, no disputing his talent, but they have lost Silva. You get what I'm saying? If they still had David Silva, then it would be close. But when they lost David Silva, I was like, it's us now. It's us now, definitely. Yeah, man. Right, okay, Sancho, man.
First and foremost, just for those of you that are just tuning in and you're probably thinking, why is he saying Sancho? Basically, the way it works is you can only have one signing. So if the window was to close tomorrow and obviously Wood was said to you, you can only have one more player who you're having, you're guaranteed to sign that person. Who is it? Who's the most important person? Obviously, Flawless has gone for Sancho. To get a couple of comments and quite a few contrasting ones, actually. We've got one from KTG saying Harry Kane. We've got a few people actually saying striker. So Jacobs also echoed that, although he hasn't mentioned who he says I think a striker as well, but United fans will start crying up for debate. He also thought Sancho does make the most sense, and Mark, I think is in for you, Mark. To be fair,
yeah, Mark is out to get you.
Yeah, as Mark said, quite evidently, not a great start.
Here's the thing, though. Like, if you look at it in three parts, you have the attack, you have your midfield, you have your defense. Our defense, I think we all agree, is the worst part of our team. I think we'd all agree. That's what needs the most work. So if we improve our defense, say our defense is a 5, if we sign just a centre back or just a left back, that might improve it to a 7. Our attack at the moment is a 9. So if you add Sancho to the mix, that makes it a 10. Like, let's just outscore everybody.
I don't think our attack's a 9, to be honest. I don't think.
Yeah. No, what do you think our attack is then? What do you think our attack is on a scale of 1 to 10?
I say because it's so young, they're going to be inconsistent throughout the whole season. Greenwood, Rashford, and Martial at point in time. I get that. So that's why I'm going to give him that high, personally.
So here's one thing, though, innit? That front three outscored anybody else.
Yeah, but you're taking Europa. No, but in the Europa League.
Europa League, though,
not the Champions
League. Against some really poor teams in the Europa League.
Legitimate farmers, like.
Yeah,
legitimate. No, we're the Farmers League. Don't forget that. Did you not see Mbappe's tweet? We're the Farmers League. But back to my point. Even if you think our attack is our best part of our team. So it's like, all right, let's just go and improve that. Deontay Wilder, let's just go and outscore everybody.
I hear your point. I hear your point. Obviously, other people are going to say if attack's our best point. I'm just trying to throw those out of the argument now. If attack is our best point of the team, we need to focus on other areas. But anyways, we are going to go for Barry. Who have you gone for?
And Barry, you can't pick Edwin van der Sar, okay?
Yeah, Barry has. You can't pick Alex Ferguson.
Yeah, so So I mean, this is a debate where going first is obviously a big advantage. Why are you discriminating against the contestants from Africa every week?
I've put Joe third, actually.
Yeah, again.
We demand equal rights from this part of the world.
Were you not first last week?
Right. So, you know, when the team aren't doing that great, you have a look, and, you know, we kind of been saying for a while, where do we need to strengthen? And we've been saying, well, there are only 3 areas we need to strengthen: defense, midfield, and attack.
Yeah.
So we've done wonderful work on the midfield. And in fact, the attack has been pretty good. We've had a very, very good attacking trio last season. And, you know, it's always said that leagues are won from the back, being defense-minded and not conceding goals. So last season, our defense improved tremendously with the acquisition of Maguire and Wan-Bissaka, both of whom have had their critics. Now, if you look at the defense, for me, that's the area that needs strengthening. And for me, the weak link in the defense may be a contentious comment, but has been Victor Lindelof. I don't think that the defense is solid enough with Lindelof over there. He's looked a bit frail at the back. He's weak on the high ball. Of course, Maguire's got his detractors saying that he's a bit slow. So we need a good ball-playing, solid centre-back. So I would say that our top target for next season should be Koulibaly. He's a class act at centre-back. Of course, we know that we compete with our noisy neighbours with respect to him. But I think that he's a guy that would add tremendous stability to the back, solid defence. And, you know, midfield to link with the strikers, we're okay. We're not allowed to talk about the right wing berth because that's already been taken. So I say centre-back is where we need to strengthen, and he would be my best candidate. The lad from Leipzig maybe would be an alternative, but Koulibaly, the complete article, he's a regular in kind of the top Italian 11 of the season, or players playing in Italy, obviously not Italian. But that's where I would look to strengthen, and that's where I think number 1 priority is.
Right, I think that's an interesting point in terms of first and foremost, just to clarify, you are allowed to go for a right wing, but of course the only obvious one is Sancho, so it would be a bit pointless.
Well,
that's why I'm
going to come back to that, because the right, well, you'll shoot me, but now I'm asking for a bit of latitude because I'm from Africa.
You've been first before, Barry. You still lost, mate. What was this, mate? Wasn't it that Man United greatest strikers? You were first.
Yeah, the one I won.
Third again.
Yeah, but
third,
you know,
3 weeks in a row.
Talking of the right wing, if Sancho's not a realistic acquisition, then we need somebody on loan on the right wing. And why not Gareth Bale on loan? Not to purchase, but on loan.
You can't have 2. Let's just come back to the person you said. Right, so you've gone for defence for the reason that you suggested.
Yes,
that
I've gone for defence because the right wing berth is taken, and I stick by Koulibaly's my man to take.
Okay, all right, fair enough. To be honest, I do think that's a credible shout. Like you mentioned, he's massively linked to Man City as well, so that's something that people might want to take into consideration. But regarding the defence, I do agree with you, Barry. In terms of Maguire and Wan-Bissaka have been a massive boost. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of speculation surrounding the left back position, and of course the centre back, as you mentioned. And I do think if we are to get 2 quality other additions in defence, then we have got a solid defence. And as you already mentioned as well, the titles are win and defence. Obviously, you can attack, you can outscore your opponents as much as you want, but if you can't defend, you're not going to win titles. It's as simple as that for me. Yeah. So it's interesting to see what other people would think. Obviously, I'm going to pass it over to Joe. Again, just to clarify, he's allowed to pick the same position as long as it's not the same player. So, Joe, over to you again. I've stitched you up 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
I promise I'll stitch you up next week as well.
I know you will, but don't worry. I love a challenge, all right? I'm a come from behind kind of guy. So basically, the positions you guys picked, I kind of thought that the way it was going to go, but it didn't affect my choice at all because I had this fight number 1. I think, as Flawless said, with the right wing, with Sancho, our attack is already so good. I would agree with what Usmaan said, that it's getting there. You know, in a couple of years it will be so good. I don't think we're in need of that sort of like outstanding talent up there, because I think we'll grow into it. Centre halves, I think our boys are growing together as a team. Like we've improved so much from the year before when we got Maguire. The lads are getting to know each other. Hopefully we can keep going. So my position is holding midfielder, sitting in front of the defence to help them out, because it is our weakest position at the moment. Yeah. I'm going for the hipster choice. He's the best up-and-coming holding midfielder in Serie A, and it's Sandro Tonali. Tonali. We had an offer put in over the last couple of days that was rejected, 10 million more than AC Milan. The likelihood is that he probably will end up at AC Milan this season, but there's serious interest from us. I have put a lot of effort into and research into this player today. He is exceptional. Right, he's 20 years old. He's already played 3 times for Italy, and he's played over, I think, 80 games for Brescia over the past 3 seasons. 1 season in Serie A, and he's going to be up in the top leagues this coming year. And he is like everything we need. He, from that position, we're sitting right in front of the defense. He doesn't really move that much out of there because he doesn't want to. Because he's told not to. He has 7 assists and he has 1 goal. He is everything that we need in that position, and he is one for the future. And I know someone posted in that he's saying he's staying in Italy. Yeah, but like, this is ideally who we want, all right? Yeah,
you know what I mean? It is a hypothetical, within reason, obviously. It is definitely someone that you can potentially get. Just regarding the DM, it's interesting that you mentioned the 3 positions you mentioned. I would personally agree. Obviously, let us know what you think in the comments. I think they are the 3. If someone was to say to me, how many signings do we need? Well, in an ideal world, I'd say 4. But I'd probably say if we needed 3, it would be the right wing, the DM. And the centre back, surprisingly, I wouldn't have actually picked the ones that 2 of you picked. Obviously, I'm not going to mention who because people will get on my neck. But I mean, the bias.
Usmaan, I already know you agree with me. I'm not really know.
I'm not agreeing that yours is the most important. Obviously, I think Sancho would have been the person I would have went for. Just coming back to Tonali, first and foremost, I think he's an absolute quality talent. He's definitely up and coming. For me personally, I do agree that we need a CDM. I think it's vital for us. But I actually would have said Partey. I would have said Thiago initially, but I generally think he's going to go to Liverpool, so I'm not going to entertain that. Because I would have said Partey. You pissed. That's just me. But
when I was looking at that position, I was looking at Partey. I was looking at Thiago as well. We talked about him going to Liverpool. Then I also who else is in that sort of position? It was Kante as well, who looks like he's leaving Chelsea. All top players. But the reason it's Tonali is because Tonali is the future of Italian football and probably the future of that position in football. Do you know, like we bring him in 2021 now. He's only going to grow, and he's going to grow with us to be the best player in that position for the next 10, 15 years. While Partey is a little bit older, quality player, but we don't know how he can adjust when he's already kind of settled to the Spanish style of football. Can he come over and make it the same impact that he's made over there? We don't know. But with Tonali, international recognised already. The most highly rated player in that position up there in world football coming into the next generation. So that's why for me it's him hands down, because we have Matic and McTominay and Fred who can play in that position as well for the next year or 2 until he actually makes it his own. But we can get him for 40, 50 million, and then he would just be worth 120 within 2 or 3 years after that.
I get what you're saying completely. I think it's a very good shot, and if we had proper scouts, we probably would be in for Tonali as well. So I don't.
Don't you think that Partey? I think he suits the way he is physically. Suits the Premier League down to a T. I really think he looks like he would be comfortable in the Premier League in the 90s. Never mind now. To me, he is the perfect fit. He's my first choice.
And it was going through my mind, but it was just that sort of thing of he's that little bit older, and he isn't, for me, he isn't a generational player. Well, this guy is. Do you know, because of the position he's in, that position won't be as talked about as a Sancho right wing or someone who scores goals. But in that position, he will make that his own, and it will probably be defined by him in 5 or 6 years' time. Whether it's at Milan, Juventus, whoever he goes to after Milan, because he's not going to stay at Milan because Milan are shit. So whoever he goes to after Milan will be probably the best player in the world in that position. That's what I think anyway.
Fair enough. A lot of people say,
Joe, you're putting a lot of expectations on a young player.
When has that ever failed?
That he's going to be the best in the world. If you look at a guy like Kante, for example, he's proven in the Premier League. He's been terrific at both Leicester and Chelsea, and he certainly could do a job for United. Yeah. And I have to say, in listening, you mentioned Fred as a possible holding midfield player. I certainly wouldn't mention him in the same breath as any of those other guys.
Yeah, of
course. How we paid £52 million for him.
54.
I scratch my head in disbelief.
Barry, I completely agree with you. And Kante was going to be my choice for a good while when I was thinking about this.
How many choices you had, Barry? You must have selected about 7 DMs. Oh, this guy was my choice.
No, but like the reason I went with Talani is for all the reasons I said, but I was thinking about Kante, but it's just a fact of like, why buy, and the same with Thiago, you're buying a 29-year-old for 2 years on a huge contract, and that has failed us so much in the past. Like, if we were challenging for the Premier League next season, and we needed that, or maybe even the year after or something like that, we needed that position filled, and we were guaranteed to be up there, I'd be like, bring them in, pay them whatever, like with Robin Van Persie. We needed that player. We brought him in. That's why I can't say that
if we brought in a player in each of the positions that we have to debate, and we brought in the ones we said, we'd definitely be challenging for the Premier League.
1,000%.
Absolutely.
If you look at the wages that some of the players are stealing for a living over there, if we were able to get rid of some of them, we could pay some of these guys the big money.
Right.
In terms of holding midfielders,
Barry, we got off topic, completely off topic. Because let's just come back to the topic. That's for another debate. Let's come back to, you're meant to be, you're helping him with the CDM thing. I want you guys to state your claim why your player should be in the not in the team, is more important than the other two. So obviously, for those of you that are voting, of course, it will be between Sancho, Tonali, and Koulibaly. Barry, we'll come to you first, mate. Why do you think your player, Koulibaly, is more pivotal and more important than the other two players for the team this summer?
Because I had to go second and not first.
Right, okay. Is that your answer?
But if we look, we're going to be playing in the Champions League with the big boys. And I think that defensively, we will struggle against some of those teams because I don't think that the spine of the team at the back is good enough with Maguire and Lindelof or with Bailly playing over there. I think that we need some major stability in that position against the top strikers in Europe. And we need a top-class centre-back. And that's where I think we need to be stabilised. The midfield is looking good. I think that in terms of holding midfielders, we got another season out of Matic. We got McTominay coming through. Up front, we got guys that can score goals. We need to plug the back. Even though defensively we were massively improved last season, I think that we will be exposed because Lindelof has been exposed on too many occasions during the course of the season. That's why I think my choice is the best.
Yeah, to be honest, I agree with a lot of what you said in terms of, especially against the bigger clubs, in the Champions League in particular, we're going to struggle with our defence. I think that as well. I can't even imagine our defence against Bayern Munich. I don't even want to think about it. Flores, I'll pass it to you. Obviously, Barry's made a couple of decent points. What are your thoughts? Why do you think Sancho is more pivotal than a centre-back or a CDM?
Because he touched on it there. Defensively, we're not the worst. Defensively, United were okay. I think we were the third best in the league. We're not winning the Champions League anyway, so I wouldn't worry about that. Like, that's really not a priority like that. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think we just need to look and be happy to be back in it and just have a run. If United can get to a quarterfinals or semi-finals, then that's progress, and these players can get experience and things of that nature. So that's how I look at the Champions League. And in regards to our defense as well, at least without Lindelof, we have better backup than we do up top. We've seen how our attack, when Greenwood, Martial and Rashford don't play, we've seen how bad our attack is. At least if Lindelof gets injured, we have a Bailly to come in. We have an Axel to come in. We have a Mengen to come in. There's no Axel level player as a backup winger. Like, who is coming in? If Martial picks up an injury, Greenwood plays down the middle. Who's playing right hand side? Dan James. Or if Greenwood picks up an injury, who's coming in? Dan James. If Rashford picks up an injury, Dan James. Whereas Maguire, if Lindelof gets injured, Axel coming in, I don't really think is much of an issue. The only reason why I want United to sign a centre-back is because Bailly and Axel seem to be very injury-prone. Like I said, defensively, we're not the worst. And also, if we keep the ball like we should do anyway, you won't concede if the other team doesn't have the ball. So it's like we need to be more possession-based. And adding in Sancho and adding in Donny, we can do that. And we can outscore teams. Like, I don't think with just one of these signings that any of us have mentioned, we can win a league title. But so we might as well, all right, let's at least, all right, once we sign Sancho, our attack is set for the next 10 years or so. Like, that's set. It's set. The midfield is set. And then this next summer coming, we can work on the defense, sign a left back, sign a centre back, and then you go from there. And what people are also forgetting as well, De Gea is not going to be in the sticks. Hopefully not. So if Henderson comes in, he can't be any worse than De Gea. That saves us goals. How many goals did De Gea cost us? How many points? It's at least a minimum of 10 points and an FA Cup semi-final. So that's why I'm looking at it, like, go and sign Sancho.
I think to me, it's hard.
I'd just like to make a comment, please.
Oh, go on,
how can you say go into the Champions League and kind of say, well, we're not going to win it? You go into the Champions League saying we want to win it.
Yeah.
So,
of course.
Okay. You're not going to adopt a policy, well, we're going to aim to get to the quarterfinals. We want to win it.
Yeah, of course you want to win it. Like,
but you got to be realistic about Barry. We're not even close.
No. Of course, Manchester United want to win it. Go on, Barry. It's cool. My bad.
And your centre backs that you mentioned, to fall on Mendy and Tuanzebe and these guys, they're nowhere good enough to play. Nowhere good enough. And they're always injured. They're tremendously injury prone, those guys. I mean, Tuanzebe was injured in a warm-up. We didn't see him for months afterwards. And, Bailly is like he's like a kamikaze pilot when he plays.
All right, so
but and the other thing is up front, sometimes, especially in Europe, you're going to probably have to play with one or two up front as opposed to those three all the time.
But we know, all right, so my response to that is, Oli doesn't change. We always play 4-2-3-1, or it's going to be 4-3-3. So he's going to play. So even if Sancho doesn't come in, Greenwood, Martial, Rashford is going to be the three. This guy, Oli, has played Rashford injured. Like, this goes to show how weak, how much he thinks. Rashford's been injured twice. He was injured in the back end of this season with the ankle injury. And then before that, pre-lockdown, he was playing with a back injury. So that goes to show how badly we need reinforcements. And of course, I want Manchester United to win the Champions League. What I should say to clear that up is, I don't believe Manchester United are good enough to win the Champions League, even if we sign just the Sancho or we sign a centre-back. Obviously, we need more than that. And in regards, I don't know how Eric Bailly, I agree, yes, is very injury-prone. How you can say Axel's not good enough when Axel hasn't really put a foot wrong when he's been in the team. Like, the only problem he has is injury, and it's one season. So it's like, all right, let's give him a chance. And you can't say Mengi's not good enough when we've not seen him. And what I want to ask you is, would you rather have Axel next to Axel or Mengi next to Maguire, or would you rather have Dan James up top? Like, we know Dan James ain't good enough, and Pereira and these type of players. Like, we are really in terms of back or Lingard. Yeah. I don't think Lingard is bad as people make out, but that makes
don't even mention those guys. They absolutely not good enough. But that's why we should splash the cash and buy a player in every one of these positions that we
agree. That's not the debate, Barry.
That's not a debate, but I agree with that.
I agree with you completely. But obviously, you've got to always pick the one in it, I guess. All right, I'm going to bring in Joe, because obviously he's been very quiet, which is not something that you can say often.
Yeah, this is weird.
Right. The face is beautiful.
Joe, at the moment, it looks like you're going to lose because you've barely spoken. Joe, so what are your thoughts? But obviously, they've kind of gone for contrasting things. One, obviously, emphasize on attack, one emphasize on defense. Yeah. Both making very valid points, I've got to say. Where do you say? Obviously, you are literally in the middle, but what
exactly. Because I was listening to the both of them and trying to take in everything they're saying. And basically, with each of their signings, with Koulibaly, look, at the end of the day, like we all know and what we've heard, like he's a world-class centre half. Okay, there's no doubt in that. But there's a difference between like showing up in the Champions League after playing in Serie A when Serie A is not what it used to be and it's the slowest brand of football in existence. And then when you get to show off in the Champions League or in Europe, it makes it a bit easier because you're basically resting every week. So like for him to come to the Premier League, I don't think it's a sure thing. He's going to be exceptional. With our front line, like Sancho, of course, would be amazing on the right wing. We would know that, but we do have an exceptional 18-year-old coming through at the same time as well, and is he going to stunt his growth? As our starting 11 goes, I think if you put Talani in there in the whole midfield role, we've got everything the guys are saying. We're able to play possession football. We've a lot more creativity, and we've a solid base in front. And we don't have a pair of 700-year-old legs in front of our defence trying to defend it. Like everything about Talani is everything we would want in a player. And the thing about him is, like I was saying before, he's just going to get better and better and better to get to the stage where we're looking at a Luka Modric or Toni Kroos or whatever and being like, why couldn't we have gotten him when we had the chance? And that's kind of the way I look at it. It's as simple as I know it's a bit of a hipster choice because not everyone in the world knows him, but unfortunately that's on me. But in a couple of years, I will be proven right, even if the polls are wrong now. But
wow,
yeah,
getting that early sort of confidence.
I'm not the CNC because I know how intelligent the fans of this channel are, and they're not going to blindly go for Sancho. They're going to look into each pick and go like, actually, Talani is an exceptional player. And I'm telling you right now, from his position,
I agree.
Yeah, could you imagine any of our midfielders outside of Pogba and Fernandes getting 7 assists and a goal, like, or even like in that sort of rate? And his creativity and everything is off the charts. He's been compared to Pirlo for a reason, but every journalist that has described him is saying that's an injustice because he's going to be better. I know it's building up. That's what. Yeah, okay. That's James Horncastle. Look it up. It's a direct quote.
I don't care.
But everybody gets spoken up. Everyone gets spoken up.
Except me. Except me at the beginning of this video.
Apparently Messi was the next Lingard and it didn't happen, did it?
You will remember that Phil Jones was the new Duncan Edwards.
Oh, could we not mention Phil Jones' name for one day, please? I can't stand
that. I'm just saying, if you were looking for the future, because that's the thing, if you're going for 29-year-olds and we're not going to be challenging for any next season, you're basically paying them a big wage to get us in the same position we are now.
We're looking for the present.
We're looking for the present.
Well, if you're looking for future, Joe, would you not mention Sancho in that?
Yeah,
no. That's I completely get that. That's what I was going to get to next. I understand Sancho is for the future as well, but in that position he plays right now, we have a capable young player who is for the future, who is more than capable, and is going to be world class, and who is going to be stunted because of this. In the position I'm saying, which is one of the weakest positions we have. 1 second, Flawless. And in the position we have, which is an incredibly important position that we have not filled in years. We had Matic for about a year when he was that player that we needed. But again, 28, 29 coming in, we have a player for the future and for right now in Talani. For big games, for small games, for everyone.
If Joe comes any closer, I feel like he's going to slap me through the bloody camera lens.
I just want to say two things.
I was about to say last words for everyone.
Let me just say one thing. I get what Joe's saying. And here's the thing with people forget about Greenwood. Even though he is more than capable of playing out wide on the right-hand side, and he is world-class, definitely. Yeah. People forget he is a 9. And I don't think he'll stunt his growth because United played, how many matches did United play this season? Was it like 50, 60?
61, so Greenwood, I think it was.
61. Obviously, we're not in the Europa League every season, but still, let's say for argument's sake, it's 50. Greenwood is still going to get his game time. Like Sancho's going to help Greenwood, and Greenwood would help Sancho as well. And it's competition for places as well. So that's why Sancho is the most important. Oh, I usually need to vote for me in it.
Okay, there you go. Barry, last 2 seconds. You're convinced why they should vote for you, even though you went second. Why should they vote for you, Barry?
There's no question about it. We're okay up front. We're okay in the midfield. The defense is a problem. We're going to be up against much more difficult attacks this coming season. And there's a bit of a weak underbelly in the defense, contributed largely by the centre-back position. And that's why we need to strengthen over there. And it's a position where you need guys in reserve. So all these other centre-backs that have been mentioned that we have, they're okay to be on the bench. They're not good enough to be in the first team. And that's where we need to strengthen. You strengthen the back. We're strong in midfield and up front at the moment. And that, for me, is the pivotal area that should be attended to at this moment in time.
Okay, Joe, last person, 30 seconds or so. Go on.
Yeah. Like Barry said, we aren't the strongest in defence, but I do believe we have defenders that are growing in compatibility with each other. What we're missing is the bottom of that diamond in midfield that starts off all the plays, gets people going, and will get better and better every season and be worth value for money every year. That's Talani. He is the future of that position in football. And if we don't get him now, we're going to regret that for the rest of our Manchester United lives.
Wow. Is it Tonali or Talani? What are you saying? Talani?
Tonali. It's Italian. We're probably all saying it wrong.
Yeah, to be fair, I've been saying it wrong. I do apologize in the chat for any Italians. Yeah. Right, okay, just want to wrap that up there. We have got Flawless with Jadon Sancho, Barry with Koulibaly, and Joe with Tonali. Just want to emphasize this. They're only allowed to pick one person, and one person they think is the most pivotal. So if you just blindly pick Sancho, this isn't who we should sign first or whatever, because I know everyone's going to click Sancho for that reason. This is where we think we need to improve the most. Is Sancho a necessity? Is Koulibaly a necessity? Or is Tonali a necessity?
He is.
I'm just making it so it's fair, because I know everyone's going to see Sancho's name and pick Sancho, aren't they? Right, I just want to say a massive thank you to all our guests. It's been an absolute class show. As always, the link to the poll will be on the Twitter page, All For United. Go drop them a follow. Also, drop them a like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Apart from that, it's been your host, Usmaan.
Vote Tonali. Vote Tonali.
I've never said who I think should win, but we'll do it off air.
Joe, you pronounce it